You think you know betrayal, but you don't. You think you understand what it means when someone you trusted, someone you gave your body, your soul, your loyalty to, chooses someone else behind your back. But let me tell you, cheating is not what you think it is. It's not just a slick, not just a mistake, not just a bad decision in a weak moment. It is a revelation. It is the unmasking of who she truly is when the lights are off and no one is watching. And here's the part no one dares to say out loud when she cheats. It's not about you. It's not because you weren't good enough. Not because you didn't give her enough. Not because some other man was somehow more. Cheating is not a reflection of your weakness. It is the loudest confession of hers. And the moment you understand that, the chains of self-blame break, because her betrayal is not the proof that you were lacking. It is a proof that she was. But here's where most men destroy themselves. They beg, they plead for answers, they fight for explanations. They try to win back the very woman who just showed them the depth of her disloyalty, and that is where you lose everything. That is where dignity crumbles. That is where your silence should have been your weapon. So listen carefully. If you stay with me until the end, I'm going to tell you the truth no one wants to hear. I'm going to expose the psychology of betrayal, why begging is suicide, and why walking away is the most powerful punishment you could ever give. If you think you can handle the truth, stay with me. Because once you hear this, you will never look at cheating the same way again. When she cheats, most men immediately turn inward. They begin to dissect themselves, asking endless questions. Was I not enough? Did I fail her? Did I not give her the love, the attention, the security she needed? They internalize her betrayal as a reflection of their own inadequacy. But here is the truth that almost no one will tell you: cheating reveals her, not you. It exposes her emptiness, her lack of discipline, her inability to live in alignment with her own values. Cheating is not a mirror that reflects your failures. It is a magnifying glass that exposes her cracks. Understand something essential. People cheat not because the other person wasn't enough, but because they are not enough for themselves. Betrayal is a choice that comes from within, not from outside circumstances. You could have been the most devoted man, the most loving partner, the most stable provider, and she still could have betrayed you. Because cheating is rarely about what she was missing in the relationship. It is about what she was missing within her own soul. A woman who cheats is not just betraying you, she is betraying her own identity. She is shattering the very value she claims to stand for. She tells herself she believes in loyalty, in love, in honesty. But the moment she crosses that line, she has declared war on her own integrity. That is why her betrayal feels so destructive, because deep down she knows she has corrupted herself. And when a person corrupts themselves, they carry a wound far deeper than any wound they cause to another. Most men misunderstand this dynamic. They take it personally, as though her cheating is a statement of their worth. But I tell you, her cheating says nothing about your worth as a man. It says everything about her inability to face her own void. It is her brokenness put on display. Think about it. If loyalty requires strength, cheating is weakness. If intimacy requires courage, cheating is cowardice. If trust requires maturity, cheating is regression. In that moment, she is not elevating herself by stepping into another man's arms. She is lowering herself by running away from the discipline required to truly love. And this is where your power lies, in not taking responsibility for what was never yours to carry. You must stop asking, "What did I do wrong?" and instead start asking, "What does her choice reveal about her?" Because once you see it clearly, you realize you are not the broken one in the story. You are the witness to her collapse. You are the mirror in which her weakness is exposed. What makes betrayal so insidious is not simply the act. It is the illusion it creates. It makes you believe that you are not enough, when in truth she was not enough for herself. She was too weak to sit with discomfort, too weak to confront her own emptiness, too weak to do the hard work of rebuilding trust, of reigniting intimacy, of facing the uncomfortable conversations that true love requires. and so she takes the shortcut. She chooses temporary pleasure over permanent integrity. And in doing so, she reveals her own poverty of spirit. Now, here's the paradox. The man who understands this truth is liberated. He no longer sees himself as the victim of betrayal. He sees himself as the one who was spared. Because who wants to build a life with someone who cannot even stand in loyalty to their own principles? Who wants to give their energy to someone who will trade love for lust, stability for chaos, intimacy for secrecy? Once you grasp that cheating reveals her, not you, you stop bleeding for wounds that aren't yours. You reclaim your power, not by fighting for her back, but by walking away with clarity that you lost nothing of value. She did. And let me make this clear. The pain you feel is real. The anger, the humiliation, the sense of betrayal, these are not illusions. But what is an illusion is the story that her cheating diminishes you. It does not. It cannot. If anything, it elevates you because it reveals to you what she truly is and gives you the chance to walk away before wasting more of your life in the presence of a divided soul. So the next time your mind tempts you to spiral into self-blame, stop and remind yourself cheating is not a reflection of the betrayed. It is the confession of the betrayer. Her body may have crossed the line, but it was her soul that collapsed long before. And that collapse is hers to carry, not yours. If she cheats, let her, because in that moment she has already lost. Not you, never you. When betrayal strikes, most men react with desperation. They feel the rock has been pulled out from under them, and in that panic, they go into survival mode. They beg, they plead, they ask questions like, "Why did you do this to me? Was he better than me? Don't you love me anymore?" They think that if they can just get answers, if they can just make sense of it, maybe the pain will settle. But what they don't realize is this: begging after betrayal is not healing, it is self-destruction. Every time you plead with someone who has already betrayed you, you place your dignity on the chopping block. You reinforce the illusion that her choices were about your inadequacy, and by doing so, you invite more humiliation. It's like standing in front of someone who just spat on you and asking, "Please tell me why you did it so I can forgive you." Do you see the insanity in that? You are asking for a justification of what should never have been justified. You are requesting sense where there is only selfishness. What men don't understand is that betrayal cannot be negotiated with. You cannot negotiate respect with someone who has already abandoned it. You cannot negotiate loyalty with someone who already crossed the line. The moment you start begging for answers, you have already lost the battle because you have placed the betrayer in the position of power. And a man who gives away his power in the aftermath of betrayal is no longer respected, not by her, not by himself, not by anyone. This is why silence is the most powerful response. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. When you refuse to beg, when you refuse to demand explanations, when you walk away without engaging in the circus of her excuses, you communicate something far louder than any angry words could. You communicate that you will not degrade yourself for the comfort of someone who disrespected you. You communicate that your dignity is not negotiable. You communicate that her betrayal is not your responsibility to carry, dissect, or repair. Think about this carefully. When you beg for answers, you are essentially saying, "I cannot live without your validation of my worth." But when you remain silent, when you stand tall and walk away, you are saying, "I define my worth without you. You have no authority over who I am." That is power, that is presence. And that is the kind of energy that leaves the betrayer haunted long after you've gone. And let's be honest, her answers won't satisfy you anyway. She can say it was a mistake. She can say she was lonely. She can say she didn't feel loved. But none of those explanations will heal the wound. They will only deepen it. Because now, on top of betrayal, you have humiliation. You stood there and listened while she justified why you weren't enough. That is the poison of begging. It doesn't bring healing. It brings more wounds. The truth is, a man's strength is tested most not in how he reacts to loyalty, but in how he responds to betrayal. Do you shrink? Do you kneel? Do you become a shadow of yourself, clinging to someone who already showed you their capacity for disloyalty? Or do you rise? Do you show through your silence that you are untouchable, that your worth cannot be defined by someone else's failure, that decision, silence, or begging defines whether you remain a man of dignity or collapse into a man of desperation? And here's the paradox. The less you say, the more she feels it. Silence echoes louder than accusations. Silence cuts deeper than screaming. Silence forces her to face herself without distraction. And that is the greatest punishment. When you beg, you make it about you, and she can blame you. When you stay silent, she has nowhere to run, no excuses to hide behind. She must sit with the weight of what she has done. This is why begging after betrayal is a form of self-destruction. It is you cutting your own knees out from under yourself. It is you surrendering your dignity for scraps of explanation that will never feed your soul. The man who refuses to beg, who walks away in silence, does not just preserve his dignity, he multiplies it. He becomes stronger, larger, more untouchable because he chose to suffer cleanly rather than bleed out in humiliation. So remember this after betrayal. You don't need answers. You don't need explanations. You don't need apologies. What you need is self-respect, and self-respect is never found on your knees. It is found in the way you rise. Do not beg after betrayal. Do not chase. Do not demand. Because the moment you do, you hand your power to the very person who already proved they could not be trusted with it. Choose silence. Choose dignity. Choose yourself, and when you do, you will discover something profound. Betrayal no longer defines you. It defines them. Walking away is not weakness. Walking away is not giving up. Walking away when betrayal has already been committed is the ultimate act of power, because in that moment you are not punishing her with words. You are punishing her with absence. And absence, when it comes from strength, is more terrifying than any explosion of anger could ever be. When you walk away without hesitation, you are not only rejecting her betrayal, you are rejecting the idea that she ever had the authority to define your worth. You are saying, I am the storm you will never weather again. I am the man you had access to, and now that access is permanently revoked. That is the kind of statement that requires no shouting, no argument, no revenge. It requires only the calm certainty of knowing your value and refusing to stay where that value was not honored. Most men do not realize how destructive it is to linger in the aftermath of betrayal. They convince themselves that staying fighting or waiting for her to change is an act of strength. But what they are really doing is chaining themselves to a corpse. Because once betrayal has entered the relationship, what you had before is gone. The illusion of loyalty is shattered. The innocence is gone. And you can never unknow that. You can pretend, you can numb yourself, you can try to glue the pieces back together, but the cracks will always be visible. And those cracks will not heal, they will spread. That is why walking away is not just about punishing her. It is about protecting you. It is about preserving the parts of yourself that still believe in loyalty, in trust, in integrity. If you stay, you are not just tolerating betrayal. You are teaching yourself that betrayal is acceptable. You are programming your own subconscious to settle for less. But when you walk away, you reaffirm to yourself that your boundaries are not negotiable. You remind yourself that respect is the minimum requirement, not a privilege to be earned. And here is where the psychology becomes undeniable. The human mind values what it cannot have. When you beg, you become available. When you chase, you become predictable. When you argue, you become accessible. But when you walk away without a word, you become a mystery, and that mystery is what burns. That silence is what echoes. That absence is what haunts, because she cannot explain it away. She cannot rationalize it. She cannot twist it into her narrative. She is forced to sit with the reality that she lost you, and there is nothing she can do to get you back. And it is in that silence, in that absence, that the punishment lands deeper than any revenge could, because revenge makes you look bitter. Arguments make you look desperate, but walking away makes you look untouchable. It shifts the story entirely. You are no longer the victim of her betrayal. You are the man who walked away from it and built a life beyond it. She becomes a chapter in your story, not the author of it. The irony is that by walking away, you do not just reclaim your dignity, you often ignite her deepest regret, because women may crave excitement, validation, or novelty in the moment, but what truly haunts them long term is the loss of a man who stood in his worth and refused to beg, the loss of a man who knew his value so complete that he didn't need closure, didn't need explanations, didn't need her back. That kind of loss stings in ways she will never admit, but she will feel it. And yet, here is the most important part. You don't walk away to punish her. You walk away to save yourself. You walk away because your future cannot be built on betrayal. You walk away because your dignity is more valuable than her excuses. You walk away because the man you are becoming cannot coexist with the man who would stay after being disrespected. You walk away because your silence is not just punishment for her, it is protection for you. So, let her cheat, let her lie, let her betray. That is her destruction to carry. Your role is not to fix it, not to fight for it, not to beg for it. Your role is to recognize it for what it is, a declaration of who she truly is, and then to step away with such certainty that she realizes she didn't just lose a man, she lost the man. The one who had the strength to walk away when others would have stayed. The one who had the courage to choose self-respect over comfort. The one who knew that silence is the loudest message of all. Never forget this: betrayal is her act, but walking away is yours. And between those two acts, yours carries more weight because betrayal destroys her integrity, but walking away builds yours. And when the dust settles, she will live with the consequences of her choice, while you will live with the strength of yours. So if she cheats, don't argue, don't beg, don't fight. Just walk, because your absence will say what your words never could.